How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, just not too busy, but trying to keep busy at the same time
Absolutely,
as
yeah.
much as possible. What have you been up to today? Because you are actually pretty busy.
Yeah, today's been a really busy one today. So, oh, my screen keeps going dark. There we go. I think I might not have to keep touching it. I've been homeschooling my two children
Oh,
and in and out of meetings with the LTA because I'm prepping some education at the moment and assessing fitness instructors. So I've had quite a busy day.
yeah. How is it like to have both children at home?
Both children at home is I love it because I love the kids being around. I'm one of these mums that loves school holidays and I hate it when they go back to school. I hate the stress of the school run. So I love them being around. The stress is just, do we have enough devices and will our Wi-Fi cope with everybody? Myself, my husband, I think I just need to keep tapping my screen. Myself, my husband being working from home and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, juggling
How
Wi-Fi and
old,
devices.
how old are your children?
They're 12 and 9,
Okay.
which is a really it's a very manageable age actually for them to be
Mm-hmm.
off because they're at that age where they can get on with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just need a
How
little
are they?
bit of,
How are they
little
coping with it?
bit. It's just a lot of screen time. That's the only issue, especially my oldest who's at secondary school. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of screen time for him because it's normal school timetable or delivered via Teams. So I do feel for the teachers, definitely. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of screen time. Whereas my youngest, who's at primary school, hers is a little bit more relaxed. So we can just kind of get through what we've got to do each day
Mm-hmm.
as and when. So that's a bit easier to cope with.
Do they manage to do any exercise during the day of
Yeah,
school?
yeah, they get to do plenty. We have a dog as well, so we have to
Okay.
get out and get the dog out. But they're really good because we actually converted our garage into a gym. So
Mm.
every opportunity, they're like, "Mom, can I go in the gym and go and do a little
You,
bit of
would, you
training in
wouldn't
there?"
have thought that that moment will come, right? When they ask you to go in the gym.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah, because I keep in touch with some of the kids that I coach and with their parents, and they're saying they actually want to be out, and it doesn't matter if it's running or exercise, they just need to be out. So
Just want to be out. Yeah, just get out in the garden, on the trampoline, whatever, playing with the dog, just get some fresh air and get away from the screens.
yeah, so in a way, it's a good thing. It's actually motivating them to work out a bit more, to be more
Yeah,
active, which
yeah,
is good.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into tennis and fitness and yoga because
Yeah,
you do so many things.
it is. I feel like every day I'm like, which hat am I wearing today? Which plate am I spinning? It is a little bit, it is, yeah, I like variety and I have a lot of variety in my life, which is awesome. But really, for me, I was your typical sporty girl. So I played everything, did everything as a kid, and you name it, I did that sport. I just loved everything. So for me, sport came first, tennis came first. At the same time as playing tennis at county level, I was also I was a sprinter. So I
Okay.
was sprinting, I was playing netball, badminton, hockey,
A lot.
rounders, whatever I was doing it. So I loved it. So tennis was kind of was my main thing, and then I remember. I remember at about the age of 18, I actually got a little job just doing a few hours working in a gym. So I got
Okay.
my level 2 and got myself working in a gym. So, and I suppose that came about just because I was interested in fitness. I loved fitness as well, mainly sport, but loved fitness as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to learn a little bit more about how to train properly. And then, yeah, so I started working in a gym. And then I was more interested in, okay, so how does an athlete train
Mm-hmm.
by comparison to, just Joe
Yeah.
Blogs in the gym. So I was quite interested in that. And as a tennis person in particular, how would a tennis athlete train? Yeah, and so they kind of then just
Mm-hmm.
continued together, the tennis and the fitness. And then I found yoga, quite honestly, because my body was so broken, injury after injury after injury, even though I kind of knew how to train.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know how to look after my body and how to recover, and I found yoga as a coach. So after I'd been playing for many years, I found yoga, and because I had some quite nasty injuries when I was in my early 20s, really awful hip injuries, and I was going to have some quite invasive spinal surgery. And I remember being 22, 23 years old, and I was on this waiting list to have this surgery. And when I got told, oh, we've got a date for your surgery, I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm actually going to go and have this surgery at this age. There's got to be something that can help me. And yeah, I was having physio treatment as well, and then I explored chiropractic, and I found a chiropractor who helped me. So that combined with the physio, and then I also started doing yoga, and I found that the blend of all of it together really sorted me out, and I never had to go and have the surgery.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are resorting to yoga a lot more, like more and more actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and this is the thing. So I was practicing a lot of yoga, and then I trained to become a yoga teacher. So I'm trained in 3 different styles, which is really interesting, and they all complement each other really well. And I kind of dip in on each one as to what's relevant for what I'm doing and for who I'm working with. So I trained to be a teacher, and I just think it's fascinating. And as I was training and learning, I discovered that so many athletes, not just tennis, any athlete, pick any sport, everybody's doing an element of yoga or Pilates, some type of holistic style exercise that kind of balances out the craziness that we do with sport. And so I just realized how important that was and what the amazing benefits were. And that's where I came up with my Yogi Tennis, which is really all about educating people as to the benefits and how doing that will help you in your sport. It can make you better at what you do. It's all about.
I was going to ask if you would, let's say, recommend yoga, or if you think that yoga is something beneficial even for like pro athletes, for example, if they actually do that, if they incorporate yoga in their training, and how does it help, for example?
So there's lots of different ways that it'll help. So it'll help from a physical point of view. So if you take tennis, for example, we're so one side dominant. We've got one strong side that we almost overtrain, and the other side, as much as we try and use it as much as possible, it's not the same as our dominant side, and which is absolutely the nature of our sport. If you take tennis, for example, but over time, if you don't address those imbalances, that actually causes problems later on in life, which is what my problem was completely down to. So the great thing about yoga is it helps to balance that out, because you've got to work both sides of the body. So the nature of yoga style activity is that it balances your body out, and it brings that level of balance. So from a physical point of view, brilliant. Strengthening, core control, balance, all of that. Flexibility makes you obviously more supple around the joints. Brilliant. Injury prevention, tick, all of that. But then the other thing that I remember reading something when I was doing my research into Yogi Tennis, that Andy Murray had written, that he found that yoga really helped him in terms of his level of focus, and just being able to quieten that inner chatter and being able to focus on whatever it was at that moment he wanted to focus on. And he found that kind of awareness through yoga, because when you're practicing yoga, you're more aware of what's going on internally and on your breath. So it just helped him to quieten the chatter and focus on the here and the now. Yeah.
And do you think that, for example, you have to take a course or go to a course or have an instructor, or can you do some type of yoga even at home that can help you with tennis or with any sport you're doing?
You can definitely. I think these days as well, this sort of yoga is so much more accessible. You don't need to go to a class. You can watch stuff on YouTube or on Instagram. There's lots of people that I follow, and there's bits and pieces, and there's apps that you can. It's very, very accessible. There's bits and pieces you can do at home, and I think the thing with yoga is it's so varied. Like yoga is sitting and breathing, having that control over your breath. And yoga's also standing on your head.
Yeah, I was going
So
to ask actually because a lot of people might be a bit put off to try yoga because of the, maybe they think it might be a bit boring and is too still for some.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that not. I mean, I know that that's not the only type of yoga there
That's
is.
it. Yeah, that's it.
So
There's
how
so
can you
many
make it a little bit more? Or what
Yeah.
type of yoga can you do to make it a bit more upbeat, or
Yeah,
for people that can't stand still for too long?
yeah, absolutely. So it's all about just going and finding what you enjoy. So if you go to a class and you think, oh, I didn't really enjoy that, was a bit too, it was a bit too calm and maybe a bit too focused on breathing, and that's not what I wanted, go and try something else. Ashtanga's known for being like the power yoga, really powerful postures. So it's just trying different things and trying different teachers as well, because all teachers bring their own kind of flavor, their own individuality to the teaching. So I would definitely recommend just have a go, or just have a get an app and just do like the, you can do like 5-minute yoga flows a day, which are great as well. So I'm a big advocate for just having a go.
Is yoga something that you would recommend even for like younger
Yeah.
like children, for example? I mean, how early on could you start doing some yoga poses?
Well, so yoga's really, it's about natural movement, and what I found fascinating was, in particular, when I was watching my daughter when she was little, and she would play with her toys, and I'm talking when she was a toddler, like still in nappies. She would play with her toys and just naturally move into positions that were yoga postures, and she didn't know what she was doing. She was just moving naturally.
Yeah.
And I remember, because this was when I was training as a yoga teacher, thinking, well, she's not seen me do that, and I've certainly not taught her to do that. She's just bending and moving her body, and it just proves that yoga postures are natural postures for our body to be in. So I absolutely think it's great for kids to be in. And my two, actually, they do some yoga with me. So sometimes I film my practices, sometimes I film myself, and they'll I share those with my two kids. And at the moment, when they can't get out so much, that's something that they can do in their rooms, or they can go into our little gym and do bits and pieces. And yeah, I think it's great.
Do they do any sports?
Yeah, they do loads of sports. So yeah, I've got kids that are typically sporty as well. So my little boy, he's 12 years old. His main things, he loves everything, but his main things are martial arts and rugby. He actually got his black belt in mixed martial arts when he was 9. So he's my little ninja. And he loves rugby. He absolutely loves rugby, and I'm that proud mum on the sideline that's like, oh yes, he's really good, really good. So his dream is to play for the Chiefs one day, Exeter Chiefs. Yeah, and then my little girl as well, super sporty. So her main things, I mean, she grew up doing everything, ballet, gymnastics, all the sports, but her main things now really are she loves to dance, she loves dancing, and she's a really good netball player. Really good, really nippy and agile, and she's got good hands, and of course they both play tennis. I play tennis with them both. Yeah, they can both play.
Okay.
Yeah, I never sort of drilled it into them, but I would play with them and teach them, so they can both play, and they thoroughly enjoy playing tennis. In the summer they ask me to go and hit with them, but it's not their main sports. They've got other sports that are their favorites, but they absolutely love it as well.
How did you manage to kind of like not push them too much into tennis? Because I say that sometimes happens, or in a lot of cases it happens. I say the parents have played tennis and they really, really want their children to play.
Yeah, they do.
How do you kind of?
I don't know. It just kind of happened. I don't know whether it was just being really, really busy that they've got so many other activities going on. And I would just really pay close attention to what were they really enjoying the most, and what were they asking me for more of. And I was kind of just going with them and with what they wanted, because I always knew that whether or not they were in training squads and this, that and the other, kind of having a mum as a coach, you know that you can kind of get them up to level in quick time. So I'd say to them, no, don't worry, if if we can't fit that squad in, mummy can help you there. So when we're doing something else every other evening of the week. but no, they both absolutely love it. But yeah, it just kind of just evolved that they weren't overly bothered about playing tennis all the time, but they just go through phases, like I suppose all kids do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important to listen to what they want and what
Yeah,
they feel like
yeah.
doing. How is it when they play matches, for example, for you?
Say that again, sorry.
When they have matches or competitions, because I'm sure they might have some. How is it for you? How do you manage that?
I'm totally the overexcited parent on the sideline.
That's good.
Try and really keep it really cool. But yeah, particularly when my boy's playing rugby, I get really excited and I'm like, wow, no. I cheer everybody on though. Everyone gets claps and everyone gets a cheer. But yeah, I just love it. I love watching them play and do their thing. It makes me really proud.
How do you deal with their, let's say, their sad moments, for example, when they haven't played that well or they've lost the match?
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's really key, in particular when they're playing team sports. Sometimes there can be frustrations with other team members, and I talk to them about how there's no I in team, and you need everybody. Everybody needs to work together, and people all develop. This is where I kind of say, now this is Mummy's job, and I know this, so you need to listen. And we'll just talk about how everybody develops at different stages. And yeah, and we had this conversation not so long ago as well about how you actually learn more through your losses than you do your wins.
Yeah, that's an important conversation to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard him since say that to his friends afterwards on a few occasions, so that's been really good. But yeah, and I think it was when we were watching one of the boxing fights. I can't remember who it was. I think we were having this discussion. Maybe we were watching Anthony Joshua or somebody, and we were having this discussion about, you know, if you lose, your mindset will be different. You will go away and you will train harder because you don't want to have that feeling again. You'll do whatever it takes to not have that feeling again. So the way that you respond to your losses is often very different to the way you respond to your wins. So yeah, I think that's quite a good learning curve for
I mean, when you win, you don't really ask yourself, oh wow, how did I do that? How did I win?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just won.
Yeah. You're just happy for the win. That's it. You don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you don't learn too much from that.
Yeah.
How has, let's say, every role that you've had so far, or every sport, let's say, the tennis, the yoga, and being an educator, how have they modeled you as a person, for example? What do you think they've taught you along the way?
Yeah, so we always say, don't we, in tennis, that tennis is so much more than just a sport. It teaches you life lessons, and I really, really think it does. It teaches you also work ethic, discipline, patience, all of those things. I also think tennis, with it being an individual sport, makes you quite driven as well. And yeah, and I think I'm quite a driven person, that I work quite hard to get to where I am now, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunities I've been given always. But I think yeah, when you've been quite successful in sport, you're only successful in sport or in whatever discipline that you do if you're prepared to put the work in. So I'm a real hard worker, I'm a real grafter, and also a real team player. I love to work as part of a team and to always go that extra mile for other people and for people that I'm working for or with. Yeah, always. Yeah, I think sport teaches you those skills.
So you basically think that, I mean, do you believe that it's more about like creating an opportunity than just kind of waiting for it, or that is maybe a matter of luck, the idea of being successful, let's say?
Possibly an element of both, but I would say for me, definitely I've worked hard, definitely. But then there's also been opportunities, and I often think, gosh, I'm so lucky to have been given that opportunity. But then I often think, yeah, but that opportunity probably came because of this that already happened. And if I'd have done a bad job there, would I have got this opportunity? So yeah, it's interesting.
Of it.
Yeah.
And how do you, let's say, motivate yourself to work out every day or to be active every day? And do you have those days when you feel like you don't want to?
100%, yeah, 100%. And something I always say, so I don't train every day. Definitely don't train every day. And I will always say to people, you should always have at least one day off. So if you're somebody that trains quite hard, your body needs a day off. And if you don't give it a day off, then it will burn out, it will get tired, or you'll get ill. So definitely need a day off. In that day off, of course, you can go out for walks and things. If you've got dogs and you need to get out, get the kids out. But if you train quite hard, your body needs a day off. And I always think you need to listen to your body. Because I always think, for me, if I train when I'm feeling a little bit on the edge, like I'm coming down with something, or I'm so achy, that feeling when you've just got the most horrendous DOMs, that if I try and train through that, I'm going to get injured, or I'm going to make myself ill. And that's always been a pattern for me personally. So if I felt on the edge a little bit, or when the children were younger and I wasn't getting very much sleep, and I'd be thinking, right, but I probably could do with getting out for a run, and I'd go out for a run having maybe had a maximum of 2 hours sleep for several nights on the trot, I end up getting ill, and it happened all the time. So I really, really think, yeah, everyone needs a day off, and you listen to your body. Your body knows how it feels, and you've got to go with it. And I think that requires a lot of discipline as well.
And just from your experience, or just what you think about it, how often do you think would be healthy for us to work out in a week?
Yeah, so I think it depends. I sound a bit like Louis Kaye. It depends. It completely depends on it depends on what you're wanting to achieve and all the rest of it. But I think 3 workouts a week as a minimum, depending on what you're doing with your heart rate, what you're putting your body through. But I typically would work out probably 5 days a week.
Okay.
4 to 5 days a week, but every week's different. It depends on my schedule. At the moment I've got a really physical role, because I'm part of my job is that I assess fitness instructors. And at the moment, because of COVID, a lot of those assessments are having to happen one-to-one via Zoom, and I'm joining in their workout. So
that must be intense.
Yeah, so it's really intense at the moment, but I still factor in my rest days. But that just means that because I'm doing so many workouts with instructors, I'm not doing so much of my own training. So that goes on the back burner for a little while, because if I try and do that on top of it, then I'm gonna be burnt out. So yeah, it's just factoring in, and every week for me personally is different, just depending on my kind of work demands.
And I mean, I know we've talked a bit about because you're not a nutritionist, and you wouldn't necessarily like tell people, oh yeah, you should definitely have this diet or eat this. But let's say for you, like, what does your diet look like? Because you're staying quite fit. Okay.
Yeah.
You're working out quite a lot, so you need a lot of energy as well.
Definitely. I eat so much. I really do. I eat a ridiculous amount of food. But I'm not a nutritionist. That's definitely not my specialist area. I know a bit. I know quite a bit. But there are people that know far more than me. But what I stand by is have a balanced diet. So that's what's worked for me, and that's kind of how I bring my children up as well, is a little bit of everything is good. And I teach my children as well to just make smart decisions, wise choices. So I've educated both of them on laying down good foundations whilst they're young, because that's going to help you as you get older. And we've talked about, so if I'm hungry, how am I going to feel if I have a handful of cookies? Am I going to feel full afterwards, or am I going to feel a bit sick afterwards? What would be a wise choice? What else could I have that's going to fill that hole? And yeah, so I'm an advocate of balanced diet, putting good nutrition into your body. Yeah, so a bit of everything, and I absolutely eat everything.
Is it 3 meals a day?
At least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people might tend to think that they need to skip certain meals, or that they need to eat a lot less than they should in order to stay fit.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got friends that do that as well. I've got friends that have done like the fasting type diets. And if that works for them, great. For me, not a chance. So I'm one of these people that's got quite a fast metabolism, and if I don't keep eating, I go really lightheaded,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't perform well. But I absolutely believe that your body, it's like a racing car, and if you want it to perform well, you've got to fuel it, and you've got to put
Mm-hmm.
good quality fuel in. You can't expect to get out, you can't expect to have powerful athletic movement if you're
Mm-hmm.
not putting decent fuel in your body. So for me, I eat a lot of food, and I'm burning it off the other end. Yeah, so I'm not a person that skips anything. I'm generally, if I'm honest, I'm generally not that hungry when I wake up in the morning. So in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, I'll typically have a shake, just because first thing in the morning, I know I need to get something in my body, but first thing in the morning, I'm not hungry. Come 10 o'clock, I'm starving. So in the morning, I'll tend to have a shake.
Okay.
I'll make up a smoothie because I just really enjoy that. I'll put a bit of protein mix and bananas and berries and a bit of spinach, just it all up. By 10 o'clock, I'm starving, so I'm having toast. And then lunchtime, I'm starving again, so I'm having something else. Then there'll be a snack in the middle of the day. Then I'll do a big meal for tea. My problem is in the evening, I get the munches watching telly, and
Mm-hmm.
I just
So what do you
inhale.
do when that
Yeah.
happens?
Oh, crisps, whatever. I raid the kids at lunch, kind of. Yeah, crisp, whatever. Nuts. I think I, yeah, had a bag of nuts last night whilst I'm chilling out watching the TV. But that's okay, because I also believe in so I believe in eating lots of food so you perform well, but I also believe in knowing approximately how many calories your body needs. Not that I do calorie counting, but I've got a
Mm-hmm.
vague idea what my body needs to maintain um, both its weight and its shape, but also its effectiveness. So if I don't eat so much in the morning, I
Mm-hmm.
can eat more
Okay.
later on in the day, because it's what you eat throughout the day versus what you expend in exercise. So that's
Mm-hmm.
my way round. Yeah, I
And
eat
then,
less
like,
in the morning.
what would you um replace the crisps with or the nuts with, maybe, if you feel like you need to have some food like late in the day?
Yeah,
Like,
so later on, so if I'm fully hungry later on in the day, I might have some crackers and cheese, or make myself some toast.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so just sort of stuff that everyone's got, really. That's yeah. I don't do anything fancy, just normal food that everybody eats. I'm just the same as everyone else.
Good. Good. Yeah, because I also think people have this idea about people that are very fit or that promote fitness or uh, different sports, that they are very, very strict with their diet.
Yeah, and some people absolutely
Some
are.
people are,
Some
yeah.
people are. Like, some of my work colleagues are phenomenal with their sort of food, their meal prep for the week. And I just think, wow, I wish I was that organised, and I wish I was that good in terms of, really knowing nutrition. But I'm not that organised. And yeah, so I think I'm just like that typical
Mhm.
busy working mum that just puts together whatever, does my best to make it as balanced and as nutritionally healthy as possible. But
You're human.
totally human, totally human.
And let's say, out of all all your roles, which one do you kind of identify with a bit more? Is it the tennis coaching bit, the yoga?
So I always think that the main thing that I love the most is my role as a coach education tutor.
Mm-hmm.
So training tennis coaches is, I always say, that's my number one.
How is it though? Because in general, I'm speaking from my personal view as well. I mean, we're kind of individualistic in a way, and sometimes we might think that we know best, and accepting advice is a bit difficult at times. How is it to teach other coaches? What are the difficulties, or?
Yeah, I just love it. I honestly have not had many problems, and I think the key is to become a coach education tutor. You're first a coach, so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been a coach for about 25 years probably, so we've been through all of the levels, and you become a tutor. I became a tutor because I genuinely wanted to help and to use a lot of my experience to help coaches, up and coming coaches. And I also really wanted to make their learning experience really positive and really fun. And that's something that's my coach head philosophy, is to make everything I do as enjoyable and as fun as possible, because I really think that when you're having a good time, you remember and you learn more. And that's just something that I think makes what I do a little bit unique, because I'm just always trying to bring the fun and the sunshine to everything. And so I've not had any any negative experiences. I love it.
What do you teach most of the times?
Most of the time, so my role is quite varied. So I deliver qualifications 1s, 2s and 3s. So when I look back over my years as a tutor, definitely level 1s are what I've delivered most of, because we run a lot more level 1s. But then I also deliver CPDs as well. So cardio tennis, for example, is something I've delivered a lot of. Yeah, so they would probably be my most, but then I've been really lucky working with the LTA. I've delivered the Coach Education Forums for I think the last 4 years. The Tennis for Kids Roadshow, I was a mentor on that for years, and then of course LTA Youth. So I've been really busy working on projects and delivering a variety of different educational content, which has been wicked. Love it.
And from your experience, let's say, what do you feel like coaches need help with the most or more? In general, I mean, are there a few general questions they have, or let's say fears that they, I don't know, they don't know how to do a certain thing and they would like to learn?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say there was anything in particular. I think it also depends what level as well. So yeah, so for example, working with level 1s, generally probably 80 to 90% of the candidates that we have on a level 1 course tend to be younger, 17-year-olds. Where for them, probably it's the first thing they've ever done where they're having to organise people and talk in front of a group. So that would be what they need more help with, but that would differ on another qualification. So yeah, it's very, very varied.
Do you feel, I mean, can you see any changes in, let's say, tennis coaching and then yoga teaching in the last maybe, I don't know, 3-5 years?
Not, there's definite parallels in terms of teaching and observing what people need in front of you and being able to respond and help them. I think what's been interesting is there's been a definite shift in the fitness industry to coach more. So as a sports coach, that's what we do. We're coaches, whereas in the fitness industry, kind of the word has spun a little bit from fitness instructor to coach. So
what would be the difference?
It's a good question, but it's more so as a coach, it's certainly in fitness. So rather than me telling you what to do, it's me guiding you. It's me guiding you and trying to figure out what you want and how can I get you there. Mainly through question and answer.
Okay.
Then we kind of trying to figure out through questioning you what your goals are and what you want to do in your training session to achieve your goals, rather than me just saying, okay, this is what I think you need and this is what we're going to do. So it's kind of working more as a partnership, which we've always done as coaches. So that's been a real shift I've noticed in recent years in the fitness industry, which is really interesting.
And you also train kids, ball kids, right?
Yeah.
How is that experience like?
That was brilliant, awesome. So I was really lucky to be invited in that. So that's one of my good friends, Mark. He's in charge of training the ball kids. So Mark's also an LTA tutor and fantastic coach. So he trains the ball kids and has done for the last few years that we've had the ATP finals here in the UK. And so for the last 3 years, I think it's been, he's invited me to be involved in the talent ID process and then the training process.
What
And
does the
then,
talent ID process involve? I mean, what
yeah.
do you need in order to be picked as a potential bull kid?
So the way that it works is, so Mark would invite a few coaches. So it'd be a few of us, and we would have a court each, and we would be running different activities on the courts. And we're looking at really sending and receiving skills. If you think what a ball kid needs to be able to do, it's move fast, catch, and roll with really great accuracy and technique. So we'd be doing lots of different ball skill activities to observe how well they do. So on 3 or 4 courts, we'd have different activities, and a massive group of kids would move from one group to the next, and we'd have several different time slots. I mean, we're talking hundreds of kids in a day would come to Talent ID.
Wow.
And they would work incredibly hard. So I wouldn't necessarily be involved in the Talent ID selection. I would be working with a group of kids, and then Mark and a few others would be circulating and looking for certain skills. And then those that are selected would then go on and have a week's intense training.
What does that?
Yeah, so they learn how to be a ball kid. And do you know, I never realised how much goes into being a ball kid.
I don't think anyone does, just by looking.
They're phenomenal. Yeah, they really are incredible. And I think when you see what they have to learn, you never watch a professional tennis match the same ever, because you're constantly thinking what the ball kids are doing, and what you don't necessarily watch when you're watching a match. You begin to take note of, and it's amazing, really. So you'll have the centres, who are the ones that run across by the net, the bases at the back of the court, the ones that stand there with a great posture and hold the ball up. And then you'll have the fielders, which you don't necessarily see. So they're the ones that sit around the outskirts. So if the ball goes over a barrier, for example, they'll run and it and then pass it onto the court so it doesn't go into the crowd. But yeah, they're phenomenal. They have to be one step ahead at all times.
How much do they have to work in that week? How many hours do they have to train?
Full days, yeah, full days on court.
Oh,
so
wow.
6 or more hours on court.
Wow.
A day for a week. I mean, it was really, really, really intense, because there was a lot of technical training, particularly in terms of how to roll a ball and how to collect a ball.
You don't think too much about it, do you? Just like talking about
it. Yeah, you don't. But then when you see the kids train, and you realise how hard they work to make it look really, really slick, and to make sure that every ball that they roll has got to be absolutely accurate. You can't have balls flying off all over the place. And so they learn a lot of that. They also learn what happens for a tie break, change of ends, ball changes, all these sorts of things they have to learn about. And also, just generally being there to provide whatever the player needs in that moment. So do they need their water? Do they need their towel? Also keeping a distance so that they're there with the towel, but if the towel gets thrown back at them, there's a lot of pressure on them, and they do phenomenally well, really do. So I loved being involved in the ball kid training.
And a lot of them are quite young as well.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on someone that's that young.
They are, yeah. And I often think not always, but the centres, so the ones that are down at the net doing the sprinting, they tend to be smaller because they've got to get down low.
Yeah, okay.
And and you think, gosh, they're probably 12, 13 years old. 14 maybe at a push, whereas the bases. So if they're bigger and taller, then they'll normally be a base. Yeah, but so they can be quite young. They do really well.
Yes. I'm guessing you've watched matches, like live matches, probably closer to the court as well. Are there any players that have impressed you, let's say, with their fitness or their movement, and why?
Wow. Wow. I think the last few years when I've been at the ATP finals, and I've just been able to sit right on court side, because I'm there to look after the children should they need me. If anybody faints or anything, I'm there. And that's been amazing, because the years that I was there, Federer was on court right next to me, and I, I, I you just can't not be blown away by him. Just everything about him is phenomenal. And being able to be so close the years I was yeah, it was just brilliant. Just in terms of everything, the way he holds himself is so smooth, control, just lovely. And their manner with the kids as well. That's the other thing when you're working with the ball kids, and you start to take note of how the players are with them, and they're great, really great, lovely. It's nice to hear the players say thank you and and appreciate what the ball kids do, which is lovely.
That's something we don't hear, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's good to find out that it does happen.
it does happen. Yeah, I mean, not always. There's always going to be times when, you know, in times of stress, but yeah, the majority of the time the players were great, and they had time backstage, as it were, to sign balls and do photos and stuff with the kids. So yeah, generally really good.
And in terms of, let's say, movement on court, what would be I mean, how could someone maybe train at home now, for example, or even from now on, or how could parents help their children or guide them in order to have a better footwork, maybe, or a better, just like let's say, to be more prepared physically for the type of sport that tennis is? What should they be focusing on?
So, I mean, I just really think that anything, any sporting movement, all is transferable. So I often say to my kids, for example, even if you're just chucking a ball against the wall and catching it, there's benefit in that that's going to help you in this, that, and the other, tennis, rugby, whatever. So I often think just making up fun games in the garden, kicking a ball against the wall, movement, sideways movement, just putting objects out and doing little challenges like how many figure of eights can I do between this baked bean can and this baked bean can in 30 seconds, and then I'm going to challenge my brother, and can I beat my own score, can I beat my brother? I think those sort of things are quite cool and quite quirky. Of course, the LTA's got the sort of the tennis at home ideas as well, which are really great. And then we've got my TikTok live workout that we did, and we've got another one next week we're going to be doing.
People should tune into that one.
Yeah, so that's something I never thought I'd be doing, is live TikTok workouts.
Well, lockdown has changed, the COVID has changed a lot.
For
how
sure.
we do things. And what how has your job, or let's say the different roles that you how have they changed in the last year?
So the main thing for me is that I'm not traveling, whereas before, as pretty much a full-time coach education tutor, most weekends I'm on the road. So yeah, traveling, delivering courses, both in my tennis role and in my fitness role, I would be on the road. So the main thing is I'm not doing any of that. But I've still been really busy, and I was only saying to a friend the other day, I almost feel more busy now than I was before, which is ridiculous, because I'm not in the car driving all over the country. I'm not doing school runs. I'm not taking my kids to after school clubs and sports and all of that. But I'm still really busy because it's just, creating opportunities for yourself again. So, you know, writing education and doing whatever I can, working from home, to create more opportunities for the future. And I've been really lucky that I've been given projects to work on from home, which has been awesome. Really grateful.
And also just talking a bit more about opportunities, and I don't want to go into like a feminist area because it's not my expertise, but just it's a fact in a way that there are not that many women coaches out there in tennis. Yoga teachers probably, but in tennis there aren't as many, and I don't know if there are as many women tutors out there for tennis coaches as well, and just tennis in general. And I was just wanted to know like what you think about it. Why do you think there aren't as many women coaches or tutors out there, and how we can have more of them.
Yeah, so there aren't as many, but there's definitely more now than there was. Definitely. So I remember when I was 18 and I did my DCA, as it was then. I think I was one of 2 females on a large course, and sort of as I went through my coach education, I was more often than not the only girl on the course, but that was fine. I got 2 brothers. I'm very much used to being one of the boys, as it were. But I would definitely say that. So yeah, so we are in the minority. Doesn't bother me at all. But I think we definitely have more female coaches coming through now, and I think all the work that Judy Murray's done with She Rallies has been fantastic. It's definitely getting more girls on level 1s. I see that when I'm delivering courses where I've got a 50-50, which is awesome.
That's good. That's a good.
Yeah, especially with level 1s, because you get a lot of university students on level 1s. So if I'm delivering out of a university, then I'm more likely to get a more even spread, I notice, which is great. And girls tend to really rock at communication skills and organisations. Very, very good.
Yeah, I guess it gets a little bit trickier when you go to the more performance side of tennis, probably.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, I don't any more work in performance, so I won't be able to say exactly. But we're in the minority, but I'm confident that there are definitely more female coaches coming through, and certainly more female tutors as well. There's more female tutors. There's quite a few of us.
That's
quite a
like you
formidable
said,
group.
I think there are more and more examples now that kind of people, and like you said, Judy Murray, and just her talking about having more women coaches, I think also helps.
Absolutely, she's built a really strong female workforce in tennis, not just as coaches, volunteers and competition organisers. There's definitely a lot more females working in tennis, which is brilliant. Yeah.
What are your, let's say, expectations, but not expectations. Let's say what would be the plan, if you can have a plan for this year going forwards? What would you like to do more of, or what?
It's a really good question, because I kind of feel like I did loads over this last year in lockdown. I completed 5. Did I do 5 or 6 online courses? I was just like, right, I've got all this time. And I did loads of stuff, so I felt like I had accomplished loads. So for the next year, I'm just going to keep going as I do, and I'm going to keep working hard on all the opportunities. Yeah, I'm going to keep working hard. If I do a good job, then hopefully I'll get invited again. That's kind of the way things have worked out for me. So I will continue to do that. Continue to work hard on the projects I'm working on now, and then I always think, let's see where that takes me.
Well, I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up there, but if you don't mind, we're gonna do like a quick fire around the quick fire questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, favorite food?
Chinese.
Favorite sport to watch?
Rugby.
Favorite sport to play?
Tennis and netball. Can I have an individual and a team?
Yeah, sure. Your favorite tennis player, male and female?
Federer. And then I'm going to go with my my idol growing up was Mary Pierce.
Ooh, nice. Good choice. Your favorite surface?
Hardcore.
Your best shot, actually?
Forehand.
Nice. Favorite city?
Favorite
city?
Oh, city. I'm going to go Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah.
Traveling by plane or by train?
Plane.
Text or phone call?
Depends who. Text first.
That's a good one. That's an honest answer. I like that. Favorite game to play with your children?
Favorite game to play? Sorry, what was that?
With your children, board game or any game.
Oh, we got Twister at Christmas. We loved that.
Nice.
Hilarious.
What superhero would you be?
She-Ra.
Favorite film?
Oh my goodness, so many. Do you know, I'm gonna go old school Top Gun.
Nice. Favorite animation?
Moana.
Nice. Good one. And your biggest fear?
Spiders.
I'm with that one, yeah. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, brilliant. That was good.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's been good fun.
Really enjoyed talking to you. And hopefully I'll get the chance to meet you as well in person soon.
That'll be amazing. That'll be really cool.
Well, yeah, good luck with everything, and just telling people again that they can join your TikTok live next week. When is it?
TikTok live. We've got one. So I'll do some teasers next week. It'll be on the LTA page, TikTok page, next Friday, 6 p.m.
Cool. Be there. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.